What's up, guys? Thank you so much for joining me today on Instinctive Addiction Archery. I'm your host, Jeff Phillips. Got a quick one, but a cool one here for you today. I hope and pray that you find helpful. I really do, man. I hope this one really gives you some insight into what I've been studying and testing in the world of arrows, hunting arrows. Okay, out of lightweight bows, light pound bows. This particular bow, 39 pounds. I draw 39 pounds on this bow at my max. I have never passed, according to my scale and a marked arrow, 39.6 pounds. I've never passed that on my draw. Okay, so as I showed you guys in a previous video, matter of fact, last week, these arrows that I built for this thing, which are the new iron oak arrows from Three Rivers, a 204 inside diameter arrow, 500 spine, 6.7 grains per inch, running 320 grains on the front with a total arrow weight of 455 grains. Okay, without a lighted knock. With a lighted knock, they're 465. You get about 10 grains when you take this out and add the lighted knock. You get about 10 more grains. Okay, so guys, I found this to be the best shooting setup. I did a video after that with my Hermit X10, shooting these same arrows out of it, pulling exactly 41 pounds out of that bow, and it was 40-yard stacker. I'm talking about the best performance I've ever had out of that bow, out of any arrow I've ever shot, and the penetration was insane. I mean, insane penetration for an arrow that gives me the speed, eliminates that duck and roll. It doesn't eliminate it, but it reduces it. You will never eliminate it. But time to target, guys, I explained in that video, was so important with traditional gear. Why? Because what happens is guys like you and me, we get out there and we shoot all summer long. We get our form down, we get our arrows bare shaft tuned, we get everything set up. We're shooting so good. We go to the woods, we focus on the lower third of a deer at 15 yards. We shoot, and guess what? It ducks, it turns, it gets out of the way. We miss the deer. You do that 2 or 3 times, guess what happens? You go back in and you grab your compound, you say, forget it, I'm not hunting with these things, I can't kill nothing with it. It happened to some of my very best friends. They flat out gave it up because does were dropping and rolling and getting out of the way of their bow, shooting around 140, 50 feet per second. That's what was happening, guys. No matter what they didn't do anything wrong. It's just natural. It happens, especially if you have no wind, if you have no cover, nothing to the sound. If there's any sound out of your bow at all that a deer can detect, not good. Okay, so what we're going to do today, guys, I'm going to kind of take back up on that video. I'm going to show you some cool stuff that I wanted to do, and I mentioned it in the last video. I broke out the chronograph, and I'm going to show you the difference and what you really do give up when you start adding more and more arrow weight and losing feet per second. Now, bear in mind, I'm not advocating pencil light arrows that will not penetrate. It's only an arrow build like this that I feel confident with sharp broadheads that I can absolutely clean one's clock with, okay? If I don't feel confident in my... I got it. Oh my God. Penetration, I will not hunt with it, period. But I do. I absolutely do with these. Yes, I do. So, what we're going to do right now, guys, I got the chronograph up. I'm going to shoot a couple of different arrows through this bow and show you what we're dealing with, okay? What we're dealing with. All right, so check it out. I'll run through these real quick with you and show you what we got. The lightest of the light is this particular arrow here, which is only 420 grains. It's about almost a little over 10 grains per pound of draw. I mean, it's 10.5. It's perfectly okay if you wanted to hunt with a 420 grain arrow. Absolutely. Because it's got a 200 grain point on the front, heavy front of center. The arrow is still perfectly balanced. It flies amazing. Yes, you could kill a deer with it. I personally want a little bit more weight, just a little bit more. And when you're gonna go with lighter weight, remember, the slim diameter arrows like these have more penetration. They just do. They're sold that way. You can read the description when you buy them. Go to Three Rivers website and read about them. That's exactly what it's gonna say, guys. Penetration and wind drift. Penetration and wind drift. That's all you're going to see if you go to Victory's website, Black Eagles, Three Rivers, Easton's, any of them are going to tell you that the 204, matter of fact, you can go on Victory's website and look at the speed, wind drift, penetration graphs on each of their arrows from a 166, 204 to a standard, okay? Major difference, okay? There is a difference. There's actually a difference in speed, weight for weight. Yes, there are. So, what we're going to do is going to shoot these through. We have a 420 grain arrow, a 455 grain arrow, which is what I'm shooting without a luminoc on it. It's 455. We have the red and white one is dead on 500 grains. This is a 500.6 grain arrow. It is just as close to a 500 grain build, 100 grain inserts, 150 grain tips. That's an Obsidian 3K carbon weave arrow in a 500 spine. These are all 500 spines, all cut exactly 28 inches, all arrows that I hunt with out of various bows. Here is another Obsidian right here. Same arrow, same thing. It's just got Voyager feathers on it. Same 100 grain insert with a 200 grain tip, 550 grains. Okay, so 550 grains is going to be the max we're going to shoot, because out of a 38.5 to 39 pound bow, call it a 39, anything over 550 would be so overkill. I believe you could outrun it to the target. I honestly think you could. A deer is sure going to outrun it. So I'm going to shoot these arrows one by one and show you guys the speed differences in what we're dealing with. Time to target, guys. And I will start with the very lightest arrow that we have, the 420 grain arrow. Shooting as normal of a draw as I shoot this bow, like I always shoot this bow. I'm just going to shoot it and try to duplicate it as good as I possibly can. Move this around just a little bit here. Okay, there we go. 170 feet per second. I'll grab it again. I'm going to shoot each arrow at least a couple of times to see kind of what we average there. 170 feet per second with a 420 grain arrow out of a, call it a 39 pound longbow. Not a recurve, but a longbow. Very respectable speed for that light of pounds. Yes, it is. Very good. Most bows are only shooting 150 feet per second, 160 kind of on the top end. Shooting 45 and 50 pounds with arrows in the mid 5s to 600 grains. So yes, it's got really good speed for a light bow. Yes, it does. There we go, 169. Okay, so we're right there at it. I'll give it a third arrow. We'll see where it averages. 169 and 170. 420 grain arrow. Duplicate 169. Okay, so that's where we're at. 169 feet per second with 420 grain arrow. Now, I'm going to shoot what I have built for this bow. 455 grains. So 20, 30, 40, 50, 5 going up 35 grains in arrow weight. 35 grains. How much speed do we lose going up 35 grains with this type of arrow? Let's just see. 167. Told you these arrows are faster. Going up 35 grains. We're at 167. We were at 169. Almost the exact same speed, getting to put 35 more grains on the front of that arrow. Overall build that way. I'll shoot it again. That's why I'm shooting these arrows out of this bow. That's exactly why. Okay. So that was 167. 165. We're still right there at it. We're within 4, maximum 4 feet per second. Maximum. All right. One more shot tells the story. A 3-shot cycle will tell you what your bow's really doing. It will. 169. Okay, so we're right there at 169, doing my normal draw. So we're actually exact same speed as a 420 grain arrow because of the arrow build, because of the diameter. Like I said, go to these websites, go to Victory's website, look at the graphs. You will see arrow for arrow that slim diameter arrows do carry more speed. That's why I did this build for a lightweight bow. It wasn't just to be doing it. I researched it and I said, you know what? I'm going to try this for myself. I'm going to find out if it's true. It is. It is true. Okay, so that's why I'm shooting them out of my Sanlita Hermit 10. The last video I did, I was shooting them 40 yards. 40 yards. These suckers were laying in there, touching it 40 yards. Check the video out, man. It's insane. 25 yards, same thing. So accurate, it's crazy. And the penetration, it was nearly shooting through a 3D Mackenzie HD target, okay, with a field tip. The penetration is unreal with these arrows. That's why I'm doing them. But now, I'm gonna go up, guys, and show you, let's just say, forget my fast arrow. Forget that. Look at the 420 grain arrow. The 420 grain arrow. Shoot it one more time so you'll get refreshed on what it did. A standard size, because these are standards. I'll show you the difference between a 420 light 10 grain per pound. Actually, it's 10.5, almost 11. What the difference is when you start going up in weight with even standard diameter arrows, what you really lose in speed. Which is ultimately, as I mentioned, it's time to target. And that's what matters. Trying your best to give a deer the very least amount of time to get out of the way of your arrow and cause you to quit traditional archery. All right, so let's shoot the 420 one more time. 173. It shot 175 the first time. It's 173. Okay, 420 grain arrow, and as you see, that arrow is almost no faster than that one at 455 grains. Okay, it's not. But if we go to a dead on 500 grain arrow, this is the one I just showed you. It's 500.1 grains. Okay, Obsidian 3K carbon weave arrow in a standard diameter weighing 500 grains. Shoots amazing, but how much speed do you really lose when you go from a 420, which is not enough to hunt with? You need one around 450 if you're going to shoot standard diameter arrows. You don't need to go under 450 grains. I don't believe you do. But going from a 420 to a 500 grain arrow, how much speed do we lose? We're sitting on 173 right there. Okay, 150, 150, 23 feet per second for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 500. What is that? 80 grains. 80 grains cost you what? 23 feet per second. That's a lot. A whole lot. How much do you give up if you go to a 550 grain arrow? We're at 150 feet per second. We're getting on the slow spectrum. Slow spectrum. Because a 39-pound bow can only push that much weight at so much velocity. Your trajectory starts suffering like crazy, okay? So, and we're talking about lightweight bows. We're not talking about 50, 55-pound bows, 60-pound bows. We're talking bows under 40 pounds that folks are hunting with. They're having to hunt with this weight because of shoulders and age and whatever. That's what we're dealing with. What is a 550 grain arrow? For everybody that says, okay, you need to shoot an arrow 550 grains with a light pound bow to get any penetration. You don't if you build the right kind of arrow like these iron oaks. No, you do not. But if you do choose to stay with standard arrows, I just want to show you what you're really giving up. As you just saw, we did 23 feet per second. 23 feet per second. That's enough time in 23 feet in 1 second for an arrow to travel. Think about that. That's enough time for a deer to get completely out of the way of an arrow in itself, not counting all the other. But that's a major difference. Let's shoot a 550 grain arrow and just see what it does. Same deal. 143. Okay. 143. I'm going to grab these three and I'm going to shoot them again just to verify everything and see where we're at. 143. We're 30 feet per second slower going from that 420 to a 550. 30 feet per second is major. So my point is, before I pull these and shoot them, why wouldn't you build an arrow like this that's fast? It's as fast as a featherlight arrow, but it has the heavy FOC in the penetration. Why wouldn't you do that? That's my whole point with this setup and this build, and what I have discovered to be the ultimate setup for a lightweight bow. You're just not gonna beat it, guys. You're not going to. So let me grab them and shoot them again right quick, and we'll kind of compare. All right. One more time. We'll start with the 420 that shot around 175 feet per second. Very, very good, respectable speed. Very, very good speed for this weight of bow. 171. Okay, I may not have drawn it just quite as tight as I did, but it's still okay. The arrow's over 170 feet per second, no matter what. Now, the 500 grain arrow, from a 420 to a 500. That shows 50 feet per second. That can't be right. We'll shoot that again. Something didn't read right on that. We'll give that one another chance. Okay, we were at 170 on that one. 153, same thing. Okay, it did 150 the first time. We got three more because I really got in there tight on my anchor. So, okay. So, 20 feet minimum, going from a 420 to a 500. 80 grains in arrow weight will cost you at minimum 20 feet per second in arrow velocity. Now, we're going back up to the 550 grain arrow. It shot 143 just a minute ago. 144. So, there you have it, guys. There you have it. So, you can vary anywhere between 20 and 30 feet per second in arrow velocity loss as you go up in total arrow weight. Okay, now, I have been an advocate, guys. If you watch videos that I've done for the past 3 or 4 years, I have been an advocate for heavy arrows. But none of those bows I was shooting was a 39-pound bow. No, they were not. They were not. And to prove that, I have a 45-pound bow laying there. And I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to pick up this 500 grain arrow and shoot a 45-pound bow. Just to show you that when you go up in pounds, you can afford to shoot heavier arrows. But if you can't, if all you can shoot is a 38, 39, 40-pound bow, you had better build you something like this for your hunting and get all the speed you can get out of the bow. So let me grab this one right quick. I'll grab that arrow and show you. I'm just going to take a 500 grain arrow and show you that shot 153 feet per second. A 153 feet per second out of this longbow, and see what a 45-pound little cheap $100 recurve actually shoots this thing. So you will see. There's the difference. All right, here it is. 45-pound little recurve. Same 500 grain arrow. Let's see what it does. 165. Okay. So from 150 to 165, it's 15 feet per second. Okay. Because that 500 grain arrow averaged 150. The highest we got was 153. I'll shoot this one more time. But there you go. 15 feet per second just in switching bows with the same arrow. Okay. That's what I'm saying, guys. You can't take all this out of context. We're dealing with lightweight bows. What you can do with a really lightweight bow to maximize efficiency and performance out of your bow. If you can shoot the weight, it really doesn't matter what you shoot unless you go crazy heavy and start losing. And yes, you will. If you go past, in my opinion, past a 530 to 550 grain arrow, you're really going to start losing it big time. As a matter of fact, I'll shoot the 550 grain arrow out of this bow and show you pounds mean everything if you can pull them. That's 165. We're going up 50 grains, okay? 162. Almost no difference because we got the pounds, okay? Pounds are everything. They truly are. So, I hope you guys can learn something from this like I have. It's been an amazing journey in the last few weeks for me. Messing with these arrows, getting ready for all these hunting setups and figuring out, okay, what can I do for these lightweight bows? How can I help the lightweight shooter maximize his performance? What can I do to help you figure out the best setup for you? Well, there it is. Get you some light grain per inch 204 inside diameter slim arrows with heavy point weight around the 250 mark, between 225 and 250, and somewhere weigh in somewhere between 450 and 480. You're gonna have the best combination you've ever had. And I'll tell you now, don't be scared, guys. If you've got a short broadhead, if you've got a 430 grain arrow, 420, if it's got something like a Magnus Stinger on the front of it and it's heavy front of center, yes, you can kill deer with them. Matter of fact, I'll never forget when all this started a few years back, I had a guy send me pictures of a kill that he did in Pennsylvania, actually. I'm sorry, Ohio. He shot a 200-pound doe. Now, in Alabama, don't have 200-pound does. Well, there might be a few, but okay, there's some big does. But a 200-pound northern doe. He double lunged it. He took out a rib, completely shattered a rib on one side, shattered a rib on the other side, out the other side of the deer, sent me pictures of it gutted with the broadhead hole through the rib, completely taking everything out that this deer had with a 36-pound longbow, shooting a 420 grain arrow. He sent me the specs, sent me everything. Well, guess what? It's about the broadhead. When you're shooting a 3-to-1, matter of fact, he was shooting a VPA 3-blade, 3-to-1, 3-blade head, just like I shot that doe with last year. It's all in what kind of setup you do as far as your broadhead. If your broadhead has resistance, no, you're not getting that kind of penetration. But do you think it takes that much energy, that much force? No, it does not take that much to get into a deer's lungs and all that and take them out. No, it doesn't. But the trick here, guys, is how long does it take your arrow to get to that deer, to get inside it, and to take it out? How long? Can you minimize that? Can you minimize the time to target? If you can, you're better. You're just better off, I promise you. And if you're coming from compound world, then you fully will understand what I'm talking about. It matters. So until next time, guys, I love you so much, and I thank you for joining me on Instinctive Addiction Archery. I'm your host, Jeff Phillips. Hope and pray that everything that we say and do bring honor and glory to the good Lord in heaven that gives us all this cool stuff to enjoy. Till next time, God bless you.